family friends and the family attorney for the Jacksons, has mentioned that he was receiving daily injections of a synthetic narcotic similar to morphine. It's known as Demerol, right? And the reason that he died could be because he was taking so many prescription drugs. There are several people who say that he was extremely skinny, extremely pale, and unhealthy looking in the months before his passing.
I read an account of one of his fans who had earned or won a backstage pass for his rehearsals, and on Monday she wrote on a website saying, "He looked so skinny, I'm really afraid he's about to die." She wrote that on Monday. And then, of course, some family members and friends had expressed concern as well. But this whole issue of the Demerol shots that he was taking obviously is concerning, and some people think it might have led to his death. They did the autopsy this morning. Of course, we're not going to get the full results for a couple of weeks.
Right. You know, I have a couple other quotes from people who saw Michael before he died. Okay, filmmaker Brian Michael Stoller. Okay, he says, "I hugged him, and it was like hugging bones. After seeing him, I never thought that he would complete his tour." Of course, he was set up to tour in London and the UK. Another source that was close to him says, "Michael hasn't been feeling well. All last week, he stopped coming out of his home to see his fans. Apparently, he would come outside and greet his fans every day, but the past couple of weeks, he hadn't been doing that."
Now, I have a couple more quotes for you. This is Liza Minnelli, and she was on CBS's early show. She said something very interesting. She said, quote, "When the autopsy comes, all hell's going to break loose. So thank God we're celebrating him now." Now, that's a close friend who's saying when the autopsy comes, all hell's going to break loose. She obviously appears to know something we don't, and God knows what was in Michael's body. So that leads us to Brian Oxman. He was on CNN. Later, he went on the early show as well. He's got some interesting quotes from there. But he is a family spokesman for the Jackson family and a lawyer as well for them. And he went on CNN and said some very interesting things that raised everybody's eyebrows. So let's listen to that clip right now.
A friend of his, do you have knowledge of what kind of physical condition he was in?
Michael has always been in very fine physical condition. The one thing which has bothered me so much is the discussion that one day he was going to be dead, and this is that. I don't know if this is that day. I can only tell you that this is not something which has been unexpected any time there was a report. Because of the medications which Michael was under, this family has been trying for months and months and months to take care of Michael Jackson. The people who have surrounded him have been enabling him. If you think that the case of Anna Nicole Smith was an abuse, it is nothing in comparison to what we have seen taking place in Michael Jackson's life.
Brian, you were aware of his current physical schedule, I'm sure. Tell us what he was trying to do, what he was trying to accomplish physically, and why you would have concern about that.
Michael had appeared at the rehearsals a couple of times. He was very seriously trying to be able to do those rehearsals. His use of medications had gotten in the way. His injuries, which he had sustained performing, where he had broken a vertebrae and he had broken his leg from a fall on the stage, were getting in the way. I do not know the extent of the medications that he was taking, but the reports that we have been receiving in the family is that it was extensive, and this is something which I feared, and it is something which I warned about. I don't know the cause of all this, so I can't tell you what the ultimate result of it's going to be, but I can tell you for sure, when you warn people that this is what's going to happen, and then it happens, where there is smoke, there is fire. This is a case of abuse of medications, unless some other cause is involved, which I don't know about.
All right, now there's some heavy talk right there. Number one, saying if you thought the Anna Nicole Smith situation was bad with her handlers abusing her, and that was hideous.
Right.
He's like, wait till you get a load of this. So we got to find out who those handlers are. Now here is where it takes a crazy twist. His personal physician was apparently with him when he died. We have a 911 call of that. That person is now missing. the police have towed a BMW that had medication in it that they think belonged to the doctor, but the doctor at this point, as we do this show, is gone. They don't know where he is. So now, look, that might sound more dramatic. Maybe he'll show up and he was at Denny's. I don't know. Okay, but right now it doesn't look very good at all. And Brian Oxman then went on the early show and he also said, look, I had warned everyone that I could warn, and I told them that one day Michael Jackson is going to wake up dead, which is a very odd way of putting it, he admitted. He said, I do not want to point fingers at anyone because I want to hear what the toxicology report says and the coroner says, but the plain fact of the matter is that Michael Jackson had prescription drugs at his disposal at all times. So obviously the people who were handling him, and I don't know how you get into a position where you handle someone like Michael Jackson.
Right.
You know, that's a real mystery to me. But there are a lot of questions floating around about how they handled him. And remember, look, Michael, let's keep it real here, was a guy who was psychologically not in the best of shapes. And so he can easily be molded. And I don't know what direction they'd want to mold him, why they want to do that. I don't know what the motivation is. We might find out. And as Liza Minnelli said, when the autopsy report comes out, all hell might break loose. So some disturbing accounts as to what happened to Michael Jackson and how he died and why he died.